Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. On tonight's show, I'm pleased to have from the softball side a Newtown senior from the Circle, Sydney Adelson. And if I got that wrong, I apologize. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Hopefully, again, we were talking about, potential projections and where Newtown could be and such. And if I have the opportunity to be able to do Newtown for a championship game, not to look too far ahead, so your head coach just, cover your ears for a second. I'm gonna have to make sure that I get that name, your last name down, and just practice it because I'm sure if I remember it now, I'll forget it tomorrow.
Hey, you know it.
So, but you know what, Newtown, heck of a season so far. Undefeated, you guys are ranked number 5 in game time. You're a big reason why. I know the lineup. I've seen the videos. They're awesome. I love seeing them on Twitter. There's one young lady whose name has escaped me where the names are starting to run out because she just does stuff every single day at the plate that just becomes typical now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Gabby Ansman and Maddie Thosen, who's a sophomore, but Gabby's a freshman. And then Addie Cordova, who's a freshman, Lila Akusti. We have a bunch of people, and the lineup is just insane right now. So I hope we keep hitting.
And you know what's scary is that you just mentioned freshman, sophomore, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Not seniors. They're young. They're coming back multiple years in the SWC. So they're not only wreaking havoc now and they're good. What are they going to be like next year and the following year? That's scary.
Yeah, Newtown's gonna be dangerous in the next years. I just can't wait to see what they do.
You know what? They're dangerous right now. You're doing your thing in the circle. Talk to me about kind of just have you been able to kind of reflect a little bit? I know it's early. I know the season still is about a month and a half before you start getting the conference play, give or take. But just kind of talk to me about just what you've done so far because you are dealing in the circle.
Thank you. I mean, I've just tried to stay a little bit. I've tried, I mean, I can obviously keep my composure, but just trying to like stay more calm, like stabilize everyone else, try to cheer everyone on. Someone makes a mistake, no worries, we got the next one. And obviously the bats have been fire, so we could just make it up with hitting. Like I'm not really worried in the circle, I guess.
Do you feel like when you're in the circle, because of not to say that the players defensively, the young women who are at the in the lineup and doing their thing, but with them being so young, there's going to be moments where maybe it's a half inning, it seems like, maybe not even, where if there's a struggle, maybe they had a bad at bat, whatever. You being the elder statesman, right, doing your thing. Do you feel like you kind of have to lead by example because they're watching you with how you respond with certain things? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I try to lead with by example. I mean, senior captain kind of just gotta lead that way. But obviously by trying to pick everyone up by cheering and just staying up and telling them like it's gonna be okay. We have the rest of the game, like it's not over yet. You're gonna have another at bat, you're gonna have another ball hit to you, like the game's not over. Don't give up on yourself. That kind of thing.
Now, as we look at kind of the season through 8 games, right? And like I mentioned, you have the numbers are outstanding, and if you keep doing what you're doing, it could be one for the record books, right? Going into this season, was there anything that you wanted to make sure that you would prepare for? Basically, what I'm saying is, okay, here's the itinerary. I want to make sure I do this and do this before everything else. Was there any sort of goals you set early on?
I don't really think so. I think it was just kind of keeping my momentum up and making sure I can lead the team the way I would want to be led. So, I mean, just keeping my energy up, making sure everyone else's energy is up, and definitely just being that like firehouse in the circle. That was kind of my goal. And so far, I think I've met that.
So I don't know if you watch baseball. Do you watch baseball at all?
Not really,
Really?
but
Okay.
kind of,
So
yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with Max Scherzer. He pitches for the Mets. He can be pretty fiery.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming just by listening to your words and kind of all that, something tells me you're very fiery in the circle.
I mean, I obviously have to give it to my catcher as well. She definitely hypes me up, Brie Pelicone. But yeah, it's just that dynamic because she used to catch for me. She was on my travel team last year, and I believe she's coming to a couple of my tournaments this year. But like the chemistry is just insane between us. So I feel like it's just like kind of bouncing off and forth back of each other. And it's just amazing this year.
So you never shake off whatever she puts down, or she just knows kind of what you want to throw.
She kind of knows what I want to throw, and I don't really have a problem shaking it off if I don't like it. But for the most part, we're pretty synced in what like pitch calling, all that stuff. But yeah.
What pitch in particular this season have you felt like has been, not to give anything away to future hitters, but is there any particular pitches, or maybe just part of the strike zone where you feel like you have really improved yourself from last year?
I don't really think so. I mean, I've been working kind of all around the plate and just perfecting my spins, trying to get people to chase or just anything like that.
So really not kind of any one particular pitch, just kind of the whole complexion of the game, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. You know what? That's a very good thing. That is an awesome thing to hear. Now is the season, like I mentioned, 8 games. You guys are 8-0. Hopefully, I didn't jinx anything. I don't want to do that. The scores have been pretty, except for a couple games. It's been high scoring in terms of you guys,
Yeah.
but for the other teams. Um, when you can kind of reflect on those games, right? And I know it's tough because when you see the score, and I don't know as far as when the subs come in, if they come in. I don't know as far as how long you go in the circle or not. But when the games are over, what are the conversations like with the coaching staff and just kind of with the team? What's the reflection process?
It's basically just kind of keep doing what you're doing. We're all doing very well. Keep hitting. And coach always says, like, I'm going to keep them in every game. So if we keep hitting, it's going to be a great season.
Yeah, because I mean, SWC's got some talented teams.
Yeah.
Notre Dame Fairfield, obviously Massick. You were telling me about, I think Brookfield, right, has a pretty
Yeah.
good team this year as well. So it's one of those conferences where Massick has kind of been the New England Patriots the last 5-6 years, whatever it's been. I mean, where they're constantly titles, 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 but there's been some I mean, they've had some bumps as far as where they've come out the victor, but it's been close. Not many games, but they've been there. Um, it's awesome to see that. Do you feel like being in that conference that it kind of helps as far as preparing you for the state tournament, being in such a good, a softball conference like the SWC?
I definitely think so because having to go through these tough teams like Amassic, Brookfield, Notre Dame, like all these teams, it's definitely a challenge. So I mean, they're not easy wins, but I think it's definitely preparing us for states.
Is there any particular either game or half inning where, and again, I know the season's early, but you've been dealing, so I think it's fair to ask this. What game was it where you felt like, all right, at least this beginning of the season, I'm feeling really good about something? Do you remember that game, that half inning where you
I
felt it?
don't I don't know if I've really I don't even know if I've comprehended it yet. Like being 8-0 is just crazy, and I definitely didn't expect that this year. But being a senior, it's just wild to even think about. But I don't think there's been a really time where I've comprehended it that much. But definitely just being 8-0 and trying to think about that is I can't. Like I can't.
So almost as if, not even as if, but all right, I'm on the ride. I don't want the ride to stop. Just keep on
Yeah,
riding, right?
definitely.
Fair enough. And hopefully that ride will finish with a banner for not just the SWC in hopes for Newtown, but also too for a state championship title.
Oh, of course.
So that would be, I think, pretty cool for Newtown as well. Now, as we kind of look at the team really quick, right? You mentioned some of the younger players. Is there a particular player or players who have really, I know you mentioned a couple of them. Was there anybody else that you wanted to mention as well?
I mean, we just up to down the lineup is threatening. Like that's kind of all I have to say about it. I mean, we start off with Julia Berry, who almost always gets on base. Then it's Maddie, Bree, Caroline, like me. It's just the entire lineup is
Mm-hmm.
I'm speechless. It's crazy.
So I'm going to coin a nickname. I haven't seen you, you young ladies play in person yet, but hopefully I'll be able to. The Newtown Bombers. kind of stealing a line from the Bronx Bombers because of the power and such. Fair,
Yeah, I
not fair.
like it. I like it.
All right, bring it up to the team. Let me know what they think. If they
Oh,
don't
I
like
will.
it, scrap it. It's
Yeah,
okay. No hard feelings. I understand. But no, it's awesome to see because again, to go back to the Patriots and all that, and seeing all the teams that get recognized and mentioned a lot, and they deservedly deserve that because of the success that they've had. But at the same time, it's always nice to see some new teams on the block. Here's some new blood, right?
yeah.
You feel like you and the team that you know what, this is our time. We're here to make some noise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's very determined right now because we don't want to give up this streak. So definitely keeping the whatever number and O is very important to us right now. And I think everyone is just very motivated to keep it that way.
If you are to lose a game, right,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's during the regular season because you
Yeah.
don't lose one obviously during the conference and then obviously states, right? If
Mhm.
you are to lose a game, how do you think this team, with being so young and being so deep now, being undefeated, how do you think this team could possibly respond? Because there could be a letdown just because of how much energy and focus and nervousness, I guess, because it's like you want to keep this thing going. You don't want to see a one next to where the losses are.
Yeah. I think we'll definitely bounce back from it just because regular season isn't as important as like postseason kind of thing. But I think we'll bounce back, and I think it'll be easy for us to keep up those wins and just try to make it as far as possible.
It'll be a lot of fun to be able to see Newtown as far as their success, Sydney. I appreciate you coming out. Before I let you go, you're going to Salisbury, correct, to play
I
softball?
am, yeah.
That's division now because I played college ball back in the day, and I actually played against Salisbury baseball. I would
Oh,
have,
really?
yeah, way back because they're up in Maryland, Maine,
Yeah,
Maryland.
Maryland.
Okay, I thought it was Maine, but I'm thinking St. Joseph, Maine.
Yeah,
Different team. But so Salisbury Division 3, very good for baseball. I know for a fact they lost to Eastern in the championship game in the
yeah.
NCAA's. Softball, kind of fill me in a little bit. I apologize. What's it like with them? Fill me in on that. I'm
Oh, you're
curious.
good. We're currently ranked number one, so
Okay,
they're
that's
number one
pretty
in.
good.
Yeah,
So same thing as baseball. They're pretty good.
yeah. No, their athletics are amazing there. That's part of the reason why I chose it. I mean, just the atmosphere there. It's crazy. It's really reminding me of what Newtown is right now, but I don't want to jinx anything. So,
And also too the weather. It doesn't change.
yep,
Still too cold.
which is so nice. Little windy, but
Oh, I remember the one game we played there. It was so windy.
yeah.
I couldn't, but like I thought I was in a mini like hurricane just because of how I didn't realize because I think you're close to the shore, right?
Yeah, it's on the eastern shore.
Yep. So
So,
you're getting that eastern breeze.
yeah.
And now I don't know if you would know this, but in softball, does the wind play a factor as far as the game itself? I was always curious by that.
I mean, a little bit. Some balls could carry. It kind of just depends, but for the most part, it doesn't really affect it unless the winds are a lot.
Because I was thinking baseball and a softball are completely different. One's heavier than the other. So
Yeah.
I thought because the wind, unless it was like 60 or 70 miles per hour, I felt like a softball would be very hard, even if you put it in the air because of the density of the ball. I feel like it would be hard to be able to kind of get that thing to go anywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just sometimes. I mean, obviously I'm not an outfielder, but from what I've heard, the ball can carry or move when they're tracking it. So,
Now, when you're in the circle, as far as kind of with the rotations and what you do, I know the rise ball, obviously there's other various pitches as well. Um, does that kind of affect if the conditions are, if it's raining, if it's windy, or if it's perfect out? Does that play a factor into your game as well?
sometimes if it's the conditions are really bad, but for the most part it doesn't.
That's a good answer. That means you
Yeah.
can pitch it, right? It could be a tsunami, and you're like, no, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do my thing.
basically.
Just give me the ball. Me and Bree, we're doing our thing. Just give me the ball, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Sydney, I appreciate you coming on. A lot of fun being able to talk with you. Best of luck with you and the rest of this season as far as with Newtown. And hopefully I'll have the opportunity to be able to see you guys down the road.
Thank you.
Always. I'll wrap things up here on the CT Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm your journey, find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Be well.